All right, sounds good. I'd like to call this meeting of the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association Region 1 and 2 to order. And thank everybody for being here this morning. We're very cognizant of everybody's busy schedule and time constraints in the spring. And so very appreciative of this time together, and we'll try to keep it beneficial for everybody. We're going to start with Dr. Elza and Brian Polk. We're appreciative of them taking the time this morning to visit with us about UIL matters and any updates they have. And I'm going to turn that over to them first thing.
Thanks, Max. Good to see everybody. Max and Phil, thank y'all for your leadership for this region and for all of the ADs Association. I mean, if we didn't have this platform to come and be able to speak to y'all wouldn't, I don't know, y'all be waiting on an email from us is what I say. And we're not the most communicative organization. So it's good to see y'all, and I'll be glad to I did get to see some of y'all at the ADs forum that they had just recently, and but it'll be good to see the rest of y'all in June and or at our events. Probably the most controversial year that we've been through, and I'm not going to belabor that and give you some sort of inspirational speech because you don't need it. It's inspiration enough that we're having seasons, and it's inspiration enough that that it's gotten better. The face coverings and all the things that Governor Abbott's backed off of has been fantastic. And we just completed swimming and diving. We just completed state basketball. And, for us, all of those events have been just great success because, we weren't real sure that we were going to have, I hear some dinging. Somebody might need to mute. Earlier, I heard it sound like somebody's on a playground. I'd like to go out on a playground and go swing and stuff. Anyways, I know I'm a little punchy today. Get ready, everybody. But we have been able to accomplish a lot together, and here we are. And it's been a little controversial. I think Polk's going to have some things he's going to want to say on this too. But I don't mind. Parents are parents. We're dealing with them right now. They're coming in droves on wrestling and football. Wrestling and track. And I think some of your coaches are giving our numbers out. I'm going to be honest. Nobody has my number unless they're an athletic director. And if it's being shared, they're giving out Brian's, they're giving out AJ's. And I think that's ridiculous. And I hope at some point, if y'all can address that with them, we're wide open to y'all. We put our numbers to be available. And I know y'all know that's a good thing. And you just might need to give your coaches just a little bit of extra lecture on that. And I think the other thing that we've got to do a better job of, and I'm not in schools anymore, but I can just only draw on my own experience, that social media is meant for positive things. And every parent that blasts us doesn't matter to me one bit, but every coach that gets on there and questions our integrity in terms of caring for kids, I ain't gonna lie, that pisses me off. It's complex when you're trying to add qualifiers back. It's complex. In track, we have 24 track meets essentially. Do y'all think all 24 sites want us to add qualifiers back? And in wrestling, that's an indoor event, and adding qualifiers back even becomes more complex. We can't just force something on people that aren't comfortable with it, and it is not easy to find people that want to host regional meets for us. So you might have a little extra, put your arm around your coach and say, hey, don't do this. We do it ourselves. It's been a little overwhelming lately, but I do think that our profession, I believe this. I still think I'm Coach Elza. I don't think I'm Dr. Elza. I think I'm Coach Elza. And I think we all have this vow to it that we protect each other and we help each other and we don't point fingers at each other. And we sure have a lot of coaches that are questioning the integrity of UIL and the integrity of the people that work there, that we don't care about kids. And there's nothing further from the truth. And don't forget to remind your coaches of that. It's really, really important. They should not be tagging UIL Texas. They should not be tagging Edward Polk. Y'all might not know that he's under Edward Polk, but that's what he's under. They should not be tagging UILAD and questioning our integrity. It ticks me off. It really does. Most of them, we get right back after them, but it's so many right now, you can't really get your arms around it. So there's my soapbox for the day. let's switch over to something, just quick updates. I'm going to kick it over to Polk and have him talk about some summer strength and conditioning, some football. He may even talk a little bit about track. We have not got all of our sites determined for the spring. This has been the hardest thing that we've been through. With tennis, it's most likely not going to be at Texas A&M, and that affects everybody 1 through 6A. But we can't announce things until after we have a contract secured. But it's looking like it's going to be in San Antonio, and let me tell you why. If we go to Texas A&M, some of your parents won't be able to see those kids on the lower courts. So we don't want to put those spectators, those parents, in a scenario, like we had to at Swim and Dive, where we were reduced, that they can't see their kids compete. It'll be better for us to push that out. So once we get a contract secured, we'll be able to communicate those sites, but know that site is changing. State track. The big issue with the University of Texas, at first was the seating. The other is, it's kind of our logistics and probably some cost related things. And we don't have it determined 110% for sure that we're going to the University of Texas. We think that tomorrow we will have a decision. We've got 2 other high school facilities or school ISD facilities that are somewhat centrally located. And we'll either have state track at 2 venues or we'll have it at 1. UT is still in the equation. Don't go running around and spreading rumors that it's not going to be there, because it's not confirmed. But I think tomorrow, and I think Brian and I will jump off a bridge if it's not, we should know for sure if we're going to be able to go to UT or if we're going to have to move it to another site. Baseball, softball. That's another one. I feel pretty good. With soccer, we're doing just finals only. Okay. Baseball, softball, and I know this doesn't affect everybody unless you make it to state, but I think it's good for you to know. Baseball, there's a good probability that the entire tournament could be at Dell Diamond, but we may host still the 4A at UT. Softball, depending on how many spectators we'll be able to have at softball. And if we can make that schedule work, we'll host the entire thing at UT. I don't think we'll have any of those decisions made until well into April. And so that's kind of where that stands on those events. Soccer playoffs, for those of y'all that have teams in the soccer playoffs, congratulations. We are facing a pretty significant shortage of officials. And I know that some of our schools in El Paso and I think the Midland area had to agree upon, just having 2 officials. We had a lot of officials that especially in soccer, that chose not to officiate, and it hadn't affected us too bad during the season, but it is hitting us a little hard in the postseason, because they have to have a certain score to be able to officiate in the postseason. And that's not by UIL standard, that's by THSADA standard. So there's that in a nutshell. So real quickly, and I don't want to give too much information, but be looking for some correspondence from us coming out for wrestling and track. Those things will be, are we going to increase the qualifiers? There's a good chance that you're going to see an email that we're going to increase the qualifiers. Let me just tell you, okay, in case you love dropping the hot news to your coaches. I don't know that we can get to 4 on wrestling because of the number of people in a facility. And that's again, our regional sites being comfortable with the numbers. But I do think we can get to 3. And with track, I think, we stand a good probability of getting back to the full 4 qualifiers coming out of area. Okay. I know that's going to be victorious news, as it should be. And it's victorious news for us as well. And, there's a lot of people that have been involved with this, but I want to make sure your coaches sending those negative emails had not one daggum thing to do with it. Okay. If they sent them, that's not why we did it. What we do everything for is what's best for kids, and for the sites that help us host, them telling us that they have the ability to handle extra athletes on their campuses. And it's a whole lot. It's doubling the number of qualifiers, which is a great thing. Okay. So that should be coming out. We've got just a couple of final approval pieces on it, but if that all goes through like we think it is, that should be coming out in the next 24 to 48 hours. Physicals. I just got off a call with Jason Dean out in Georgetown, and he told me that I confused them on the last regional call, and I know that I did. I confused a lot of people. We did send out some clarification on behalf of our medical advisory, but the physicals, essentially, guys, if you're an incoming seventh grader, a first and third kid from this past year, you're going to have to get a physical for next year. And if you're a first and third kid in high school or a seventh grader this year, you're going to have to get a physical. So it's essentially everyone is going to end up having to have a physical. One of the big questions that we've been getting that's a little hard for us to answer from a liability standpoint, but I'm going to do the best I can to thread this needle, is there we go. I hear recess again. If you go first and third, if you have summer strength and conditioning, let me revamp that again. If for physicals and summer strength and conditioning, are they required to have a physical? The answer is yes. Okay. But does our physical, Grace, count through the summer? I think your school district's going to have to determine that. Okay. Because there's a liability with the safety of those kids going through summer strength and conditioning. So we're not giving a hard answer that yes, this is where I confuse some of our regional directors, I think in the Houston area and whoever else logged on. It's y'all are going to have to determine that with your school district. If you want to take them through a summer that they've gone a year without a physical, then y'all can determine that. That everybody's got to have their physicals ready to go by August 2nd when we start football, volleyball, etc. Okay, so if you got more questions on that, I mean, we can answer them, or it may be better if you just call us and talk us through it. I'm glad Jason Dean called me this morning because I knew I'd confuse some folks, but I wasn't sure quite how I had confused some folks. I'm going to kick it over to Polk and let him talk about, Polk, I just was going to have you talk about, we didn't talk before we got on here in great detail. I was going to have you talk about summer strength and conditioning Atavus and, talk to them about our tentative calendar and just the tournaments and meets for volleyball and all that stuff. I know you can hit all that. Okay.
Yep. No problem. Summer strength and conditioning. Basically, we're going to go back this summer to do what we did this past summer, where we added some time and added the Monday through Friday piece. So it won't go back to what we did the previous summer. It'll go back to giving our coaches and kids a little bit more time. We have that stuff up. It's actually on our COVID page right now online. We will post an actual summer strength conditioning document on our athletic page like we always do, that makes it easier to find. But basically, like we did last year, you still have your 2 hours of strength conditioning. And now you have 90 minutes a day for your sport specific skill, with no more than 60 minutes a day in one particular sport. So that's what we went to last year. We're going to carry that over for this summer. Heck, it may be something we do, every summer moving forward. We'll continue to get feedback, but we're for sure going to do that this summer. It's also extended Monday through Friday as well, like we did this past summer. So you get Monday through Friday, you get your strength conditioning time, and you get 90 minutes a day for sport specific, with no more than 60 minutes a day in any given sport. All right, just like we did a year ago. Another piece that kind of coincides with that a little bit, we're getting some questions on, are our sport camps, or your summer camps that you run. And right now that's up to the district. So we don't really have regulations like we did last year from TEA saying you can't do those. So if y'all want to have your summer sports camps, you can have those again. All right. It's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to your district. Remembering that a couple of years ago, we upped that to where you can have 2 per sport during the summer and 2 per sport during the school year. All right. But that's going to be completely a district decision. So we probably won't put anything out on that, but you can have your sports camps and you can begin to schedule those as well. The other piece that just to hit on the 60 minutes a day that we have allowed this year for strength conditioning outside the school day, for those non-season sports. Again, that continues all the way through this year. Y'all know. So if you're not in season, you get 60 minutes a day for strength conditioning only, not sport specific outside the school day. That's a topic that will come up in our legislative council here, in June, if we're going to continue to do that for next year. But we don't have that answer yet, if that 60 minutes outside the school day will continue. And we'll probably need your feedback on that as well. But that's one thing we don't know for sure that will carry on into next year. Another piece on football, spring ball. Spring ball is just like it was in 2019. I'm going back to 19 because that was a normal year for us. So right now we have no restrictions on spring ball. If you're a 5A and 6A school and you want to have spring ball, you can schedule it and you can have it. The one thing you have to remember is we still are dealing with COVID. Y'all are still dealing with COVID and the close contact and all that piece. So if you start spring ball and you get 2 weeks in and you have to shut your kids down, it kind of gets dicey on whether or not you're going to get to start on that first Monday if you didn't have spring ball. All right. Because if you go 2 weeks of having workouts, we're going to have a hard time saying, well, yeah, you can start that first week like you didn't have spring ball, even though you got extra workouts in the spring. So that's something y'all are going to have to call us on a one-on-one basis. If you were to start spring ball and get 2 or 3 days in and had to shut it down and want to know if you can start on that first Monday in August, we're going to handle those on a case-by-case basis, if that makes sense, because we've gotten that question as well. But as of right now, spring ball is open as it's always been. Those regulations that we have for spring ball are up on our football website on our rules and guidelines page. None of that has changed from the last year in 2019 when we were able to have it. As far as the regular season, we plan on in August, everybody's starting as normal with football and volleyball. We don't plan on having a split 1A, 2A, and 3A with 4A and 5A and 6A. We plan on going back to our normal start right now. Of course, if something crazy happens, we would have to come out and change that, but we don't plan on any of that happening. We plan on it being a normal year for 2020, 21 football, volleyball season, all those things that start early in the fall. I'm trying to look at anything else I may not have covered. Track, Susan hit on this. I think we'll have some updates pretty quick as far as the regional meets are concerned. We hope that early next week we're going to be able to get out some information concerning our state track meet. I do think I think regardless of where we end up having our state track meet, it will end up being a 3-day meet. And we'll put 2 conferences a day, whereas right now on our website, we just have 2 days on there for our state track meet. I think it'll stay with those 2 days, but we will probably end up having to add a day at the beginning of those 2 days. So it'll be more of the 6th, 7th, and 8th rather than just the 7th and 8th with 2 conferences a day. And we'll get that out as quickly as we can. We just, as Susan said, we don't have all that finalized at this point. So I think I covered everything she needed me to cover.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I remembered something that we're going to have a survey item come out in, I figure it's going to be April because we're almost done with March, with broadcast of Friday night, and it will go to your superintendents. And I don't know exactly how it will read, but I know the ADs and THSADA, those associations have kind of polled their folks, and it's pretty evident that people want us to open up Friday night, and allow broadcast of games. There's a lot that don't want it. I don't want to be unfair to the ones that have said that they don't want it. But I think that there's, I don't know how we'll word it, but I think the bottom line is that probably there'll be some ability to broadcast on Friday night or stream those football games, but it will probably have to be by some agreement, because we do have, especially in 4A and below, we had a lot of conferences that spoke out that they're just concerned about not having people in the stands. They like the Friday night party and all that good stuff that goes with Friday night football, and they're afraid if we just open it up and it's required, it doesn't have any options to it, that they're gonna, they're gonna lose that atmosphere that makes their community so special. So that will be a survey topic, and I think, and again, there's some confusion on a proposal that was made by TGCA. It's really not our confusion as much as how are we going to land on this. But I know TGCA had asked, could we look at that hour of strength and conditioning that goes outside the school day? Could it also be interchanged with skills? Now, we've heard from a lot of folks that they're concerned about that. In other words, there's that undue influence. You've got that kid that plays football, but he also plays basketball, and maybe he likes basketball a little bit better, or just the opposite, the volleyball and the basketball kid. And that they like one over the other, and then the coach is going to pull them, and then they're not going to be prepared for the current season they're in. So I don't know that will meet any favor on looking at that change. And like Polk said, I mean, it may not even be a rule that we keep in the 22-23 school year, but those are some that are coming out. And I know you guys have relationships with your superintendents, and you need to be a part of giving them input for that, because those are going to drive decision making with our council. I
know one thing I forgot.
Yeah.
To hit on Atavus. I think the majority of y'all probably understand, but the recertification for those coaches that got their Atavus 1.0 is up this year, as many of y'all know. So there is actually 2 different certifications now. There's a 1.0 and a 2.0. So every coach that got a 1.0 2 or 3 years ago, they are now up for recert prior to working with kids in August. So they've got to get that 2.0 recertification, which is completely different than the 1.0. And we've got some fast clinics going on right now. THSADA is putting those on in person. And I believe at some point in April, we will have the online version of that 2.0 certification for coaches to be able to get as well as THSADA's coaching school this summer. And we'll get some more of that information out to you. But just to remind you that pretty much every coach, I think, is going to have to be certified in either 2.0 or 1.0. The coaches that are brand new to the state of Texas or brand new into the profession, they will all have to get 1.0. They will not need 2.0. As y'all know, and that certification lasts for 2 years. And we'll continue to grow and we'll continue to put out information on it. But just to update that Atavus piece. The other thing I forgot on the summer strength conditioning, we've had dead dates in the past. And just a heads up for this summer, we have no dead dates. So you don't have to worry about any dead dates where you got to close down your facilities for this summer. We may get back to those in the future. That's something we're continuing to discuss. But for this summer, for 2021, there are no dead dates during the TGCA or the THSCA clinic weeks.
Yeah, I think we covered everything, y'all. We do have a sports officials committee meeting coming up in April. And don't forget, we are adding water polo. It will become a sport in 2022. It'll be a fall sport. It will be start in August and culminate at the end of October. And so that sports officials committee meeting is going to be the conversation is going to begin. How are we going to pay the water polo officials? And I know that the ADs Association is heavily involved with that. In helping make sure that anything that TASO is recommending that they've got the support of all the athletic directors in this state. So that process begins and we'll go through its normal process to get approved by council and all of that. But that conversation starts this April. And, we're in a realignment year next year. So we're in the second year of an alignment and it's, we're back on top of it. We've got some things that we're actively working on. We had some issues with opt-ups, in D1, D2. It was skewing our lines. I mean, is there anything that we can do about that? We don't know, but those are, as much as we've still got to sort through with this COVID and the rest of our sports seasons, we still have some really bigger topics that come into next year that, take us back to regular business. So I think y'all would have everything y'all need to get through the rest of the spring, minus, just the information that we have on the sports that could be changing on their sites. I think you've got everything you need on physicals. We think you have everything you need on your summer strength and conditioning. We know our tentative calendars are out there. We don't anticipate those changing. We know we don't have the tournament and the meet information clearly defined, but give us just a little bit more time. I think, Brian and I were talking about this morning. We think it's just going to be back to normal, for your cross country meets, your tennis tournaments, your volleyball tournaments, your basketball. Just hang with us. I think we'll probably have that out somewhere between April in May. I mean, again, we don't want to have to change things a ton, but I think everybody's looking in the same, the same picture that we're looking at. It's getting better and we're getting there. So is there any questions that we can help answer this morning or anything that we've left out or forgot or something that we need to get updated for you guys? Polk, we're so good. I mean, God.
Susan, I want to say something to you and Brian. Number one, we appreciate your leadership. And, there's a lot of angry people out there. We all deal with it. But I'm like you, I'm an old coach at heart. And, the thing we don't want to do, we don't want to point fingers within our team. And you guys are definitely part of our team and we appreciate what you're doing. And we've got yours back just like y'all have ours.
Thanks, Max.
You bet.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Bob,
any questions for Susan or Brian before they jump off and continue their busy day? All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all.
Yep. Love you guys. Miss you guys. Keep going. And we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you all.
That's good. All right, we're going to move on to our state sponsors, and we're very appreciative of all our partnerships with our state sponsors. They're a big part of what we do. And Don, we're going to start with you, Don Massey with Ace Sports. If you'd like to share anything with us, we appreciate your time this morning.
Great, thanks. I don't think Dr. Elson's still on there, but I do appreciate her leadership. And I'm actually flying down I-10 right now into the Houston area, so I'm headed opposite direction of you guys. But man, we just appreciate you guys. We've been fortunate. Your area has been really good to us, and continue to do that. I'm going to pop this share screen up if that'll let me do it. Let's see here. Well, maybe. I might be going to share a screen. Yeah, it's not letting me do it, but that's okay. Yeah, I'll just be real brief because I know you guys have got a lot on the agenda today. But we are everything: video boards, scoreboards. I don't know if our friends up there in Dumas are on, but just recently did their video board at the football stadium. Abilene Christian, go Wildcats. Way to go, make some noise out there in March Madness. And we were fortunate enough to be partners with them and do the cube up there. And we've got some more projects going in West Texas and the Panhandle. And, what I would share with you guys is we're in a time where we're always looking at budgets, right? But, what we would encourage you guys to do is to reach out to us. We've been able to secure sponsorships for several of our schools. In fact, over the last year, even during COVID, we were able to secure $2 million worth of funding to put video boards and scoreboards in schools through corporate sponsors in the community. And I think that's huge for schools right now. And it's also a revenue generator to help supplement your athletic budget. And so we'd love to partner with you guys. Another thing I think that sets us apart is that we also do curriculum for broadcasting and live streaming. And just listening to Dr. Elsa, it looks like that's going to be here to stay for a long time. And it's a great opportunity to get other students involved in your school that normally wouldn't be a part of the athletic program because that's their niche. They love the media, they love the graphics. And so we bring in certified teacher to help train your staff with the curriculum. It comes with part of our package. And it's been a really rewarding experience for us to work with kids, but then they're a part of the production and the graphics that go up on your video boards and scoreboards throughout the season. So my contact information, thanks Dave. Dave's always a rock star for us out there. Thanks for putting our contact information down there. I'm here. I'll be back out in Panhandle in West Texas here really soon in the next couple of weeks. Love to stop by and visit with you guys. If you have any questions, my email address is down there, or reach out to Abilene Christian, Dumas, and some of those guys about our service. And I think that you'll find that not only are you getting a great product, but a great relationship too. Thanks. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, Max, you're muted, Max.
There we go. Sorry. Jen Gross with Sports U, you're up.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. As has been said, I know you have a full meeting and I want to honor your time. We're very excited to be new sponsors with THSADA. I had the opportunity to meet a few of you during the Spring Sponsor Showcase in Round Rock and look forward to being with more of you in June. We'll be bringing our team down for that. So I am actually based on the East Coast. I'm a high school girls soccer coach myself. And first thing I want to do is just show you quickly, if you're not familiar with Sports U, not familiar with Sports U, we are primarily a communication platform that can be completely customized to the entire ecosystem of your athletic department. And so what that does is it removes the liability of coaches texting athletes, and it streamlines that constantly changing communication. So when bus times change, when a kickoff time is moved, when there's constant updates right now in the COVID world that we all live in, or with, alignment conversations, or with everything that we just talked about, is I just listened into this meeting, is changing. And so what you're able to do as an athletic director is customize kind of your buckets of people. So you can have a campus coordinators group and a head coaches group for your district, or if you're a multiple school district, like I know that Coach Meeks can talk about how they've been utilizing us throughout Lubbock, you're able to have your campus coordinators kind of run the communication of their schools. But the district is able to really run an audit of any of the school official teams in their district. So for me, I was a part of our kind of 3-team coaching structure this year, where I helped out with a lot of the varsity. I took on the role of the JV girls program. I traveled quite a bit for Sports U. As you can imagine, I'm working throughout Texas and nationally. So I was really thankful to get back to coaching this season, and thank God that these girls had a season. And what it did for me was, being able to pin our COVID questionnaire at the top of the feed. We did that for all 3 teams across our program in one click. Being able to keep girls working out, what you were talking about with strength and conditioning, a lot of our S&C coaches will send, prevented injury prevention. They'll work with athletic trainers. They'll send home information to kids, but it's coming through to them on the Sports U app. So really our feed is visible to everyone. You're able to customize chats if you want to do an O-line chat, which a lot of our folks will do, position-specific communication. You're able to share, right? So you've got your feed. Again, I'm just going to scroll through this quickly. I'm happy to set up, there's our team mascot. I'm happy to set up any demos that you want to dive deeper into this, but just wanted to show you how a coach would use this. So feed is visible to all members of your team. You're able to chat, add some information about your rosters on our members tab. Then what's fun is, instead of having to go elsewhere for your calendar and elsewhere for your media, it all comes into one free space. And I have some schools that will use this for, every single team has one team. And then I have some schools where each team has a parents group and a players group, or a varsity JV and freshman and boosters group. And it's really what best serves your community. Your coaches are rock stars. They're out there with kids. They're giving their life away. And this is really just a tool to help them keep their coaching philosophy and communicate effectively. So calendar, very straightforward, much like a Google Calendar. You can import, export. I'm happy to dive deeper into those how-tos. You can always visit sportsu.com. Really fun thing this year, because we were limited in spectators, is I designated one of the girls who wasn't seeing a lot of playing time a photographer, and every day she'd go home after our game and upload the album. And so the girls were able to see that, celebrate it, share it with friends and family. And so that is really how a coach is able to use Sports U with their teams. And we're actually happy to meet virtually with your campus coordinators and coaches, or in person as travel is able to be resumed safely, and go ahead and do like a professional development day for your coaches, your coordinators, or anything that we can do to onboard via Zoom, especially kind of this spring as you start to plan for that summer conditioning and those camps. We can get you up and running for communication there. I will also show you quickly, in the role of an AD or a campus coordinator, we have the ability to have kind of more of that admin role. And so what this is this is a district where campus coordinator would be able to set up, if you can see on the left-hand side, really their entire athletic department. So all of these are closed private teams. There's a code to access them. Everything is organized. And in one click, that athletic director would be able to share photo, file, attachment, create a poll, and hit, I'll just show this one feature because it's the world a lot of you all live in, hit select all. And in one click, that is pushed one-way communication. You can disable comments, so you're not welcoming that feedback, maybe from some angry parents that you were discussing earlier. You're able to get communication out district-wide one way. Again, there's more features I'm happy to go through, but I wanted to let you know that this is available now. It is free. A lot of folks actually throughout Texas have been using us for a couple of years, and we're so thankful. As we have been in Texas high school athletics, we've been listening quite a bit, and something that we continuously hear, and I'm going to end with this note, is the desire for an affordable video solution. So what that looks like is that we have, let me go ahead and share this video here. What that has looked like is that, so I've got too many windows open here. Let me stop my screen share. We are finding that, Huddle's a very high price point. And it's got a whole suite of services, analytics, game film, stats, coding. With that Huddle Assist, we understand that some of your varsity football programs, some of your varsity coaches want to maintain those resources. We also know that as everybody's reviewing budgets right now, it's going to be incredibly important to have a way to save thousands of dollars for your district. And we keep hearing coaches want a basic video editor. They want a game film option that isn't going to cost tens of thousands of dollars for our district. And so that's where SportsU comes in. So as you speak to your coaches and your campus coordinators and you find out that there are a small handful of teams that want to stay on Huddle, but there are many, many more sub-varsity programs, modified programs that are looking for a basic video editor. We have built this in response to that request. So it is going live to market June 1st. I actually asked our development team to do this screen recording for me so I could show you all what it's starting to look like. So it's going to integrate with sportsu.com, and you're going to be able to buy it a la carte. So again, we hear that a lot of ADs feel like prices go up and up, or they're locked into contracts, or they have to buy something for everyone when only a few are really using it. And so we are offering sportsu.com a la carte, where you can buy 10 hours, 20 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours. So 10 hours starts at $49.95, goes up to 100 hours at $350. Very, very affordable. Again, as a coach myself, I need basic game film to teach tactics, technical skills, really have those light bulb moments with kids as they see themselves and are able to put it into action in the next game or scrimmage. And so that's what we've done. We're really excited to roll it out to Texas June 1. So we will be having this, with us in Round Rock, but we're going to set up some webinars in April and May. So that would be the thing that we would hope, is that as you're evaluating budgets now, and we all know there's increased costs. I listened to one of you speak earlier and just share that outside of this call that, you're now having to consider protocols and safety and cleanup and sanitization process and add all these things to your budget now in the new world that we live in. And so hopefully a lot of the money that you save by putting some more teams on SportsU and having an affordable video solution will enable you to spend that money elsewhere. So we're really excited and look forward to the season ahead. And please reach out so we can be a part of your campus coordinator meetings come April and May. And then you'll just be able to go to sportsu.com. You do not need to go through me or any of our other reps. You can go straight to sportsu.com in terms of once we're live June 1st and decide the number of hours that serve your district and your community, and go from there. So I will pause. I went through a lot quickly just to honor the time. And if there's any questions or if anyone wants to share, I see some familiar faces on here and we're really thankful to have you on SportsU. But yeah, anything else I can cover? And if not, I look forward to being with you and your coordinators in April, May. Oh, I just got a, thank you, Coach. I just got a message about CHS and the coaches using SportsU. So very thankful.
Thank you, Jen. I can tell you just through us that SportsU has been a game changer for us, especially during this COVID year. The communication aspect, it's been phenomenal, and we appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, happy to be working with you guys. And again, I will share, a couple of you have reached out, not just one, I promise, have reached out and said, technology is not my favorite. What do I do here? And the great thing is you're able to set up different admins and you're able to really delegate, but it's having that district-wide communication that you've given the green light to as an AD, and then you kind of know how it's working throughout your school. So we're happy to help with that anytime.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jen. All right, we're going to move on to our committee reports, and we're going to run through those. Some of our committee leaders don't have much to report right now, but we're going to go through, and if you don't have anything to share, just tell us. We're going to start with Kenny Kattwinkel, and he's going to give a membership report.
You're on mute, Kenny. All right, can you hear me now, Phil? All right. I was just saying that, every year we get together and we start talking about the membership, and it's always the same. We're going to call people, we're going to get a hold of people. And I saw something the other day that we had lower numbers than we've had in the past. I think the big thing is we need to make sure that all of our coordinators are involved in that. They have that administrative duty. They should be involved in that. And then I think if we can get that done, but also, you know, just kind of commit to that we're going to try to get at least 2 people extra, you know, because like I said, I think we've even talked about, you know, what does the people get? And we've sent that out to people, and it didn't seem like it was working much either. So we need, I think the biggest thing is just kind of promote it, you know, let people know what it's all about, and hopefully we can get our numbers back up in there. So that's really all I have on it. Like I said, I don't have numbers on it right here, but I just think that from a standpoint, and especially in a high school, you need to be able to have coordinators that feel like they're administrators at the same time, and also getting the administrators more involved in the program that we're with.
All right. Thank you, Kenny. Go TAC committee report. Justin.
I've got him. They met. So Andrea Fluman filling in for Justin Heffley.
Sounds good.
I think they really just got off, but they were just meeting, reviewing and updating the course offerings. In the near future, there's a TAC course information portal that is near completion that'll allow members easy access to get in and out of those classes. They have requests that if you have a future course idea to reach out to Justin and shoot him an email so that it can be put up for discussion and consideration with the committee. And then at the 2021 state conference, you must be a THSADA member and register for the conference to access those TAC presentations online after the conference.
Perfect. Thank you. Do you have anything from publications, Andrew?
We do not. We've had to shift our meeting around so many times, so we are set for April 5th. I know the next one's going to be online, but I don't have any information to share right now.
Sounds great. Thank you for everything. Okay, Jim, saw you on. You have an athletic committee report?
Yes, just briefly, we would like to get as much information as we can of what our campuses are going to be doing for strength and conditioning this summer. So if you could email me what your campuses are doing as far as the sport specific strength and conditioning, how they're going to plan that out throughout the day. That's basically what we would like to take back to the committee. Thanks, guys.
Sounds good. Not seeing Toby on this. Excuse me, Stan Strobel from Dumas ISD is our policy committee chair, and he is on his way to a soccer playoff game. He asked me to report that House Bill 547, which is the homeschool bill, is pending in committee right now, and no action has been taken. JJ, if you'll give us a officials committee report.
Okay. As you guys know, 2 years ago, there was a proposal for $10 across the board in all sports, and the Legislative Council decided on $5, and we're experiencing that this year, a $5 increase across the board. But our committee has been charged with the task of coming up with an overall plan. And so far, some of the things that we're talking about is every odd year, which is coinciding with the Legislative Council, that we will discuss increases for the officials, and that's this year. But because of COVID, we're going to stay status quo, so there's not going to be any increases this year, and then for the 2022. But so the next increase that we'll talk about will come up in the next legislative session, which will be 2023, and then go into effect in 2024. So we're kind of kicking the can down the road. But if you got any ideas on how we should increase pay, let us know. We're kind of trying to come up with something different than $5 across the board, trying to do more of percentage increase and maybe per sport instead of everything being the same. But any ideas would be beneficial with that. Other than that, I don't really have anything, Max, so the fees will be the same for the next 2 years.
Thank you, JJ. Okay, moving over to state business. Going to turn this back over to Bob.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I've just got a couple of things. One, is a congratulations. Your 2 region ADs of the year are Max and Phil. So I know y'all know that, but this is just a public congratulations and a recognition of a job well done. So congratulations, guys. Very deserving, and look forward to more service on your part. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Next thing is Spring Sponsor Showcase recap very briefly. We had about 150 people, that's sponsors and ADs together, so it was a small gathering. But for those of you who were able to attend, it was sure nice to see everybody in person and had a lot of good social time and also some good learning time on that second day. So if you were not able to attend but you paid your fee, you're going to be able to watch those videos probably in a couple of weeks. Next thing is our upcoming state conference will be June 6 through 9 at the Kalahari Resort in Round Rock. Registration is $100 per person. So I would advise you, if you haven't already, to update your membership and then go online and do the registration. And then once you register for the conference, you'll get a link for the hotel, you'll get a link for golf, and you'll get a link for the Hall of Honor. So first do your membership, then do conference registration, and then those other links will follow shortly thereafter. Let's see here. Okay, the Hall of Honor will be a little different this year. It's going to be Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30, so it won't have a meal. It'll just be probably hors d'oeuvres or dessert. And we'll recognize all of our regional ADs of the year. We'll recognize our 4 national award winners, our Joe Bill Fox, and also our Hall of Fame induction ceremony for our 3 inductees this year. So we really hope you guys can attend. It's $20 a ticket. And again, you'll get that link once you register for the conference. So I'd like to see about 300 or 400 ADs in there to recognize all the great work that those who will be receiving awards have done. And let's see, whole sponsorships for golf. If you're a golfer, or if you can find a couple $100 from a booster club or an exhibitor or out of your own pocket, sure, we'll take that. We're trying to get at least 18 whole sponsors for golf this year. So if you can find a couple $100, that link is also on the golf link, and you can access that there. Mega drawings, we're asking each district to bring at least 1 mega drawing gift. You can bring it right to the conference, and then you can give it to Vince Sebo, who's in charge of that. And let's see what else we have here. I think that's actually about it. So I'll turn it back over to Max, and y'all can continue your meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, we're moving on to regional business, and we'll start with Region 1. I'm going to have some discussion over a couple of items, but before we do that, would like to recognize, and Penny was on here earlier, but I'm not sure if she is anymore, but Penny DiPamazio from Lubbock ISD is retiring out of our Region 1 membership, and Penny has served. Penny's a legend out in this part of the country, and she has been with Lubbock ISD for 28 years and in the profession for 38 years. And she is not only with Lubbock ISD, but everybody in this region knows and loves Penny, and we wish her very happiness and enjoy her retirement. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike. Mike Meeks, Lubbock ISD. He's going to cover a couple of discussion questions and dealing with COVID and capacity and things like that. So Mike, you're up.
All right. Thank you, Max. I appreciate that. Thanks to you and Phil for putting this on. I wish we were, meeting in person. I think everybody would, but we'll get back to that someday, I hope. But anyway, and Max, thanks for the words with Penny. We honored her this morning at our school board meeting. We recognized the 5A girls state champions at Lubbock High, and we had an opportunity to recognize Penny at that time too. And she's going to be a big shoes to fill with her. But she did have to hop off just a few minutes ago to get into another meeting. But I appreciate you recognize her in this meeting. Before I get going, I got a couple other PSAs I'd like to throw out, dealing with Sports U. We have been involved with Sports U for now over a year since COVID-19 took place. Big deal for our coaches. I think all of our programs are using it to communicate within their program, and it's been a great tool for me to communicate. We have 237 coaches in Lubbock ISD and trainers involved with that, and it's real easy to get information very fast. And I do want to make mention to the new video platform that Sports U has. We've got some information on that, and I've been in conversation with Brad Matthews since last summer about a video platform with that. Kind of excited about that, to see how that we can use that in maybe our middle schools, how we can use that in some of our other sports, sub-varsity sports, other different levels, and see what we can take advantage of. I do like the a la carte option. We love Huddle. Huddle's not going to go away for football. But at the same time, we want to see what we can, how we can make it more affordable with the bottom dollar. So we look forward to, seeing the demo on the video with Sports U. And Jen has been awesome for us. I've had her in the coordinator meetings for us to give us some demonstrations as well and information. So reach out to her if you have an opportunity to do that. And then the other thing I'd like to mention is the FAST Clinic. We're hosting that at Lubbock High School on April the 6th. It'll be the 2.0 version, the recertification. So, make arrangements face-to-face is a good way to do it. So we hope to see you guys, see your coaches there. It's on a Tuesday. The only problem with that is our baseball coaches aren't going to be able to attend. That's but we do hope we get some coaches from our surrounding areas for face-to-face tackle certification. So hope you guys will be able to push that with your coaches. So questions, I'll get into it. I'll try to keep this as short as I can. I would also like to say with Susan and Brian, I know they're not on here right now, but I have been in much discussion with them lately because of regional track. And I'm just thankful for the relationships that we have with them, to help with clear understanding with what's going on. But I think what's happening with track and wrestling and the opening up of the state of Texas with our governor, when we look at the COVID safeguards after the governor's decision to relax some of the state mandates, depending on how you look at it, to me in Lubbock, Texas, it's almost like flipping a switch and we're trying to go back to normal 100% as quick as we can. The problem that we have in Lubbock ISD is different than some of your communities that are, have one community. We're not all like-minded in our school district. Our superintendent gets as many emails for masks and against masks, on a daily basis. It's kind of crazy, but we did put out a survey in Lubbock ISD right shortly after the governor's a message about opening up Texas. It was open for 48 hours and we had 7,000 people respond to it. And 60% of our stakeholders in Lubbock ISD want to continue with what we're doing with requiring the mask in school, the indoor part of that. And I know a lot of your school districts, might be the very same thing. So we're still masks on indoors in the classroom, the weight rooms, the bus, anything that's indoors that we're still masking. We're still requiring our coaches and kids to have that. And it's a challenge. When you go to the contest, go to the games, there's hardly anybody wearing masks outdoors. And it's tough. It's tough. And but we're trying the very best we can to continue doing what we're doing. So we have not changed in Lubbock ISD with what we've been doing before the governor's message. Our school board has been a bit, I don't want to, maybe not frustrated is probably not the right way to say it, but all of a sudden we have all this local control that we didn't have before. So we've actually tabled, our school district has tabled the discussion about masks until probably mid-April, which when we talk about masks and capacity, what does that do for us in athletics when we're trying to host events when we're still 50% capacity for our outdoor events? And then with the news that and I'm not going to go crazy on the track thing right now, but with the news that we think we're fixing to get, how do we do that? How do we host that event with the restrictions that we have in place? So I'll ask for a little patience, with whatever news that we get. I think we're headed down a different path. But we've got some things within our school district on how we can host that event. But that's my thoughts on number one. On number two, the crowd size and mask guidelines for competing schools. What do you do when your opponents have different rules? And we have that. We have that in Lubbock County. As I mentioned before, like-minded stakeholders, even, for us, we don't even have the like-minded stakeholders in our school district because of the are you for it or are you against it when it comes to masks? And then, when we deal with Max's school district, they're basically a one school town, and then Friendship, one school town. And then here we have the county. We have the county influence over that too. So it gets a little difficult. It gets a little difficult on that with the stakeholders. Then we deal with Estacada High School, who brings the smaller communities into their school. And so it is challenging. But we're going to be steadfast on our signage at our outdoor events, our announcements. We're going to still require masks to come into our facilities, and then social distance when the best that you can. One thing that we have done to try to push the rules out that I hope your coaches have received from our coaches is that we sent a visitor's letter out. Our coaches sent a visitor's letter out. So when your teams come to us, that they at least have an idea of what to expect. And like I said, we are still 50% at our outdoor capacities, but in lieu of that first question with the governor, what we've said within our walls is that we are 50%, but we're not going to monitor it as close as we were when Abilene Cooper comes to town, and we had a list of how many we want to ensure the parents get in. We're kind of relaxing that, but we're still 50%, and we'll go from there. But what do we do? Kind of the last resort is that if we feel like it's a problem, we could always delay the game. We have not done that. We have not stopped any contest or anything because nobody's wearing their masks or anything like that. And as we move forward through the school year, it's just going to become more challenging outdoors. And we just need to get this school year over with and reboot, start over in the summertime. So that's Max. That's about all I got for questions 1 and 2. I'll pitch it back to you. If anybody has any questions about any of the things, I'll be glad to answer that as well.
You did.
Sorry, Joe, you're up.
Yeah, all this Zoom stuff, I have figured out that mute button now. Boy, did I pick out a good year to get into the administration side of athletics. It's been quite a challenging year, for everybody. I know all the ADs and UIL, and I was still kind of in the coaching business last year just a little bit when all this hit. And I think a lot of the parents don't understand all that the UIL has done for us to get seasons this year. I'm still kind of bitter about golf season last year. We had a really good golf team, and those kids didn't get to compete. And so I'm still kind of sour about that. So when parents kind of get on me about, not letting grandma get to come to games, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for them at that point. But that's kind of how it is. At Lubbock Cooper, we're very fortunate. Our superintendent, as soon as the word came down that all those restrictions in Texas were limited, I think he had his finger on the send button, and we're not wearing masks at school right now, which is good for a lot of people. If those kids still want to wear masks to school, if the coaches want to wear masks, if the teachers want to wear masks, they're more than welcome to do so. I guess it's more of an optional thing for us here. As far as our outdoor sports right now, when we finished basketball, that was a great relief for us, because we had to monitor capacity, just like everybody else did. And, once we're outside, we're good to go. We're really not monitoring our capacity as much right now. And I think one of the questions is how do we deal with teams that come in or when we go to a different place? If a team comes to us, we're not making them wear masks. If they want to continue to wear masks, that's up to their coaches to do so. But we're not enforcing masks in the stands. So it just, it's pretty much optional for them. But if we go to Coronado or we go to Monterey or we go to Abilene Cooper, and their rules are that masks are required. All of our kids have them, and we put that information out before we go. So if we go to Abilene Cooper and they're having to wear masks, our kids have that capability of, and coaches have that capability of putting that stuff on. So that's kind of how we're handling it here. Hopefully, we're going to be through with all this before long and be ready to move on. I think question 3 deals with, traveling long distances. We don't have overnight travel here at Lubbock Cooper right now. We didn't really need it earlier in the year as far as, basketball tournaments and volleyball tournaments. So it really wasn't an issue. So we're not spending the night anywhere right now. So that's really not a big thing for us. One of the other questions was as far as having, in-person classes. Most of the schools that I have talked to, and it's kind of goes from big school to small school, kind of like what Mike was talking about. There's a lot of opinions in Lubbock. You have the hardcore mask people, and then you have the opposite of, thank goodness we don't have to wear them anymore. So some of the bigger schools that I've talked to said that, yes, they still have that in-person option or the online option. Here I think we've done away with our online school, quite a while ago, because what was happening to us is the kids weren't doing their work, and our failure list was, 100 pages long of kids not doing their stuff. So our soup came in and said, we're not going to do it anymore. And, our failure list has declined quite a bit because of that. So, there's still quite a few schools that are offering, and I think Lubbock is still going to offer school. I was talking to JJ the other day, and I think they're going to still offer somewhat of an online option, next year. We are not, and I don't know. I would say a lot of the smaller schools that I've talked to have done away with that also. So I think that's about all I have.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Mike, if I'm pull you back in and you can finish up this discussion, and then we're going to turn it over to Phil.
Very good. Thank you, Max. Yeah. Question 3, travel was a hot topic early on, and I'm going to talk about the first semester. We had the same. We didn't do any overnight travel. We stayed out of the hot spots. One thing that we did with buses, and it's still in place now, is that we're still no food or drink on our buses. And then when we started in early football and volleyball and cross country and all that, we wouldn't even let them use the restroom on the charter, but we relaxed that early on, but we still have to travel with our mask on. And then moving into the spring sports with softball, basketball, wrestling, basketball, golf, and tennis, we tried to make things a little bit more normal, kind of like the UIL did with giving them some opportunity to have some limited tournaments. We took that lead. We opened their window to about 300 miles to be able to do that. We let them stay one night, and we had to have one in a bed for overnight travel. And then for softball, baseball, we gave them 2 nights to try to create some normalcy. So, but we did try to lean to no fluff, don't take any extra that you don't have to do, just active participants with that. But I think we've handled it very well. but we haven't been able to travel like we normally have, and I don't think anybody has at this time. But comment on the virtual school, like Joe was saying, for our school district, when we started on August 17th, Lubbock ISD was the largest school district in the state of Texas that opened on time face-to-face. And when we did that, we were probably about 65-35 face-to-face to virtual students. And today I think we're down to about 10%. And we have come out, like Joe was saying, next year, we have already said that we'll have no virtual from, 8th grade and below. Pre-K to 8th grade, we'll have no virtual. So they'll all be face-to-face, and we will have one option for high school virtual. But it's, the way I understand it, I don't know exactly how it's going to go just yet, but we understand that it's going to be at one school. So we did have a select population of kids that actually thrived in virtual school in Lubbock ISD. So, they're looking at trying to keep a component of that for the right kids that want to take part of that, but it's going to be low. It's going to be housed at one school. So we'll go from there. But other than that, that's all I got. And we'll turn it over to Region 2, Max.
All right. Thank you, Bill.
All right, business from Region 2. We also had some discussion items that we're going to share with you. Thankful for all the folks in Region 2 that provided some really good feedback. And I've asked Mark Baker from San Angelo ISD and Del Van Cox from Abilene ISD to provide those reports. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And when you guys are done, then I'll finish up with our Region 2 business.
Thanks, Phil. First of all, it's good to see everybody, and we're looking forward to being able to get back to see everybody and shake everybody's hands. I'm going to read through the questions that Coach Baker and myself were able to get some information. We heard from 8 school districts across our region that represent 13 schools. One of the first questions was, have your schools been able to start scheduling and planning for summer strength and conditioning, skill training, and sport-specific camps? Yes, all the schools that responded said they are planning sport-specific camps and summer strength and conditioning and skill training, all depending on the UIL guidelines. So we'll have them information as well. I do know I want to add AISD. We're not going to host in our gyms the summer and spring leagues like we normally do. But that's just something that our district has decided that we're not hosting those summer and spring leagues in our gyms. The second question was, are you anticipating a total in-person experience for the 2021 and 22 year? A lot of you've already chimed in, and we are, all the schools, most schools are planning on total in-person learning in our region. 2 schools did get back with us and say they are looking at options for the virtual learning to continue in some areas. I know AISD, they announced yesterday that that we're looking to get rid of most all of it, but it's going to be very limited on our criteria for the virtual learning. So we're trying to get back to normal as much as we can here. The third question, will your districts going to allow you to travel to the Legislative Council, Texas High School ADA, State Conference, coaching schools, THSADA and TGCA? All schools are as of now allowing to travel for coaches, for coaching school and state conferences. So at this time, unless anything changes, all the schools that got back to us are planning on attending. That's all I have, Phil.
Mark, you want to share with us anything from San Angelo ISD?
No, sir. I mean, Dale and I talk back and forth, so I appreciate him looking out for us, and we're working on the district track meet. So, but no, sir, it's pretty much Coach Chance and all that information back, and you know, we are not the COVID police and all that kind of stuff, but our fans have done a great job. Coach Chan's done a great job as far as getting all this information out and keeping signs up. We took the X signs down about where to sit. We make the announcements throughout the track meets, things like that. So, you know, we're kind of on the same page with everybody else. And we do have our people here that are, you know, we're going to wear a mask, and we have other people here that are not going to wear a mask. So, you know, it just needs to get back to normal. And I think somebody said a while ago, somebody said we need to get the school year over with. I'm in total agreement. Let's get it and go on. So thanks, Phil.
Thank you, guys. Additional business from Region 2. We got some celebrations I'd like to share with you. I don't know if those folks have joined us today, but many of you may or may not know that Executive Director of Athletics Bruce McCrary for Ector County ISD is retiring in June. And so well deserved. Bruce has been great to work with, a great friend, and we're going to miss him. On the same note, another one of our members, Tracy Borchardt, has been promoted or hired as the new Executive Director of Athletics for Ector County ISD. And we celebrate with her. We know she's going to do a fantastic job, and we're excited to work with her moving forward. I did want to briefly mention Scott Hafley, who is the Director of Athletics for Wichita Falls ISD. Many of you may or may not have received a ballot from TRS. Many of you may not be that close to TRS where that's something that's important to you, but it is important that we have a member of our association who is on the ballot. And I've already sent mine and my wife's ballots for Scott. And I just feel real strongly that state government's always trying to get into that money somehow, some way. And I would like somebody on that TRS board that I know that has been in the fire, both as an administrator and a coach. And so I would encourage each of you, Region 1 and Region 2, to share this with your coaches. And, you know, let's be a champion for Scott Hafley on that TRS board. Next meeting for Region 1, I want to share this, and I'm going to send some email out, but I would like to start the process of planning our next Region 1 meeting in the fall, face-to-face here in Abilene, with a meal and possible golf. And so I'm going to get some more information. Hopefully we would do it kind of as football season is towards the middle. Volleyball season has not gotten to the playoffs. Try to pick a Wednesday and see if we can actually get together one time as Region 1 and really do have a great meeting and fellowship face-to-face. Last thing I'll share with you is, man, I just appreciate being a part of the association, appreciate working with each of you. And like Susan said, it is about the kids in the district, and it's about having each other's back. Last night, I had the opportunity, by the way, we're fixing to be on our third head volleyball coach at Abilene High in 3 years. So I had the great privilege of listening to the volleyball parents last night tell me what a horrible person and a horrible AD I was for an hour. And by the time they finished, I was kind of agreeing with them. And so I went home and shared that with my wife. And she said, quit whining. You're going to get to see your players on Friday night. And what she was referring to is I had a great privilege of working with Don Delosier. And I know Don's on here somewhere. I wish we could see your face, Don, and get back on. But in 1986, we coached a state championship football team. And they're going to have a reunion this weekend. And so, you know, you can always find the positive. We're going to get to go to that. We were invited. And so I immediately quit worrying about the negatives. So let's talk with our coaches about that. Seek the positive. It's always there. You just got to find it. And appreciate every one of you guys and gals. And from Region 2, that's pretty much our business. And I'll turn it back over to you, Bob.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the work of the panelists today for the discussion items. It's very valuable for Mr. Kirkendall's on the call today, but for he and I to hear the perspectives of the different regions across the state. And I can assure you that just like around where you live, there's a lot of different ideas out there about what we should and shouldn't be doing. None of them are right, none of them are wrong. It's just a different perspective. So it's good learning for me that I can share with Rusty, and probably good for Mr. Kirkendall to hear those things too. So thanks for sharing today, and thanks for gathering all the data. I really appreciate Max and Phil organizing the meeting today. We haven't had an in-person experience in a long, long time, and like Phil said, it sure would be nice next fall to be able to meet in person. And I'll make that trip out there to play a little golf and have a little lunch and shake a few hands too. So don't forget to invite me. So Max, I'll turn it back over to you, and you can close the meeting out.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. I also, before I do close, I want to say, Penny, I know you jumped back on here, Penny Dipomazio from Lubbock ISD, who we talked about earlier. I just wanted to tell you face to face as much as possible. Congratulations on your retirement, and much happiness. So big moment for you, I know, and we're excited for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. If there's no other discussion, we'd like to close this meeting. We appreciate everybody's time today. Closing the meeting for Region 1 and Region 2 of the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association. Thank everybody again for your contributions and for your time today. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.